So here we have the LG Quantum. It's a pretty solid feeling Windows Phone 7 device. Pretty responsive. It's got a 1 GHz processor and an Adreno GPU, but it's pretty much the same as any other Windows Phone device. They're all pretty smooth for the most part. One thing it does have though is this slide out keyboard. The keys are nicely spaced. They're easy to type on. They have a lot of play to them, so when you push down on them you feel like you're actually pushing down on something. So all in all, a pretty, basic Windows Phone 7 device, and one of the limited few that actually has a full QWERTY keyboard. So if you're on AT&T, you want the full QWERTY keyboard and a Windows Phone 7 device, this is definitely an option. Okay, this next device is the LG Revolution. This is a CDMA device for Verizon. It does run Android 2.2 with LG's custom skin on top of it. Not a big fan of custom skins, as you may know if you're a regular reader. I always feel like it kind of slows down the phone a little bit, but this does run pretty smooth. It does have a 1 GHz processor, but the main focus of this device is the fact that it is LG's first LTE device running on Verizon's new 4G LTE network. Does have Netflix pre-installed, which is nice, and Netflix playback is pretty quick and pretty smooth. And all in all, it's a nice little new device running on Verizon's 4G network. This next device is the T-Mobile G2X. This is sort of kind of a sequel to the G2, I guess, except that there is no QWERTY keyboard. I must say, though, that it is a strict Google phone, so there is no custom UIs on top. And I also have to say that this is probably one of the smoothest, fastest devices I've used at CTIA. We do have a 4-inch screen. Comes preloaded with swipe, as you can see. Dual-core 1 GHz Tegra 2 processor, 512 megabytes of RAM, and also an 8 megapixel camera on the back with an LED flash. On top of that, it also supports T-Mobile's 21 megabyte per second HSPA plus 4G quote-unquote network. So long as you're in a T-Mobile zone that has that higher speed, your phone's not only going to be quick because of the processors, but the internet's going to be a little bit faster too. All in all, a super snappy vanilla Android device. And now here we have the LG Optimus 3D. The device does have a dual-core processor just like the G2X, although I have to say it doesn't seem quite as snappy, but it does seem very quick. Just not quite as snappy as the G2X. I would assume the reason being is that LG put their own custom user interface on top of this version of Android, which in my opinion usually kind of slows things down just a hair. So besides all this, the main feature of the LG Optimus 3D would be the 3D. Now, it does use a parallax barrier, which means it has 3D on the screen itself, so you don't need glasses. The other thing, though, obviously because we're using a regular camera, you're not going to be able to see the 3D effects very well. You can kind of tell what they do from this video here, but it doesn't really do it justice. You have to see it in person. It is pretty cool. I like this whole 3D effect thing that's going on the devices without the use of glasses. So that's it. It also has a 3D camera on the back, so you can shoot 3D footage as well as play it back.